yeah. Kingdom citizen of Wisconsin. Kingdom citizen, kingdom citizen, yeah, yeah. Kingdom citizen.
Blessings, 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 blessings. How's everybody doing tonight? It is I, this morning rather, David D. King, and Think About It Tuesday on the Wisconsin Citizens of Wisconsin show. And I got some guests that is coming on, and I know one will be any second, but one is here right now. And I am ready to bring her up, bring her on, that we can have a great time today on Think About It Tuesday. She is none other than No Mercy. She gives no mercy when it comes to you messing with her child, her freedom, anything that got to do with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. She's a fighter. I ain't gonna call her a murderer, but she is a fighter. She's gonna act like she's an angel, but do not cross. Mercy!
Good morning.
How are you?
Doing pretty good. It's been a busy couple weeks and the red is sunburned, so I'm trying not to scratch or otherwise touch my skin and cause or inflict pain upon myself. So otherwise we're pretty good.
So if I make
yeah. Go ahead.
I heard. So tell us about the radio.
Yeah, so I have a new radio show through my ministry. So it's called Living with Freedom. It's also on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Central. It's 2 to 3 p.m. It's on Freedomizer Radio. If you want, I can share a link in the comments or post a picture in the comments through Facebook. And yeah, I got to launch on July 4th, which was pretty stinking epic if you ask me. So it went well. Sarah was actually my first guest on the radio show too, and so it was really fun to start that with her. And we did a reading of the Declaration of Independence and listed the names of all of the signers, which I fumbled because I don't know most of the names myself in full, transparency. So yeah, no, it was good.
It was good.
Yeah,
and
it was
you
good.
didn't call.
What do you mean?
You didn't call. No, I'm just joking. My 4th of July, I was working the.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we didn't have a call last week here because you were working at the Brewers game. So yeah.
I know. Tell me, have you seen the movie everybody talking about?
I have not yet. I definitely have it on my to-do list. I've seen some really cool stats about it though, and knowing kind of the history of how this movie finally came to existence. And wow, like just that alone is pretty phenomenal. I'm actually going to pull it up and share some information about the movie. Hang on. Maybe that's not where it was shared. Oh, here it is. So originally Disney owned the rights to this film with no plan to release it. Angel Studios bought the rights. They took it to Amazon, it got turned down. They took it to Netflix, it got turned down. They decided to pre-sell tickets to be able to get it in 2,600 theaters, which was, I think, half or less than half of the number of theaters that Disney had Indiana Jones showing at on 4th of July. And it ended up surpassing Indiana Jones, which I'm a Jones fan. I'm hardcore Indiana Jones person, so that's also on my list. So no bashing to them because I'm a fan. But the fact that
I'm
Disney
not
has,
even gonna comment.
but I think it's pretty fascinating that the fact that Indiana Jones, which has been a 40-year development or series, had 11 million sales on 4th of July or since 4th of July. I don't know how that stat is written, but Sound of Freedom, the gross collection was 14 million. So it surpassed it by couple million, and I think that's pretty freaking fantastic. With less than are you a numbers guy, Dr. King? Do you like numbers?
Um, I love numbers.
Okay. So Indiana Jones's budget was 294.7 million. So 294 million, and Sound of Freedom budget was 15 million. So I don't know what fraction 15 million is from 294 million, but that's a fraction of the budget they had to produce it as well. So I think that's pretty phenomenal, and the awareness it's bringing. And I really hope that it's not only just bringing awareness, it's also helping people start to take action. Because we know, like, if we know about something and don't do anything, we're just as complacent to, the problem is basically consent. Silence equals consent. So I really hope it
But
encourages people to donate or help. Mm-hmm.
the thing about it is, a lot of people un- understand, they hear, they know that child trafficking is real, but they really don't get involved unless it hit their house.
Yep,
And
unless it involves
we
them
can,
or them.
right. But if we can come together and know the signs and know how to keep your children, male or female, safe, because it's not just grabbing little girls now, they're grabbing the
No.
boys too.
Yep.
So I think that one of the things that we really have to do is just educate. And I got a feeling with the California Bill 957, I believe that's the name of that bill. Let me turn on my other computer to look it up. But Bill 957 gives the state the right to come and take your children if you do not agree with who your children wants to be. So if that's happening, then you're going to see more children into the sex trafficking mode than
Absolutely.
ever.
And I've been hearing, I've been in the world, we'll say, of supporting survivors of domestic violence for many years now. And one of the biggest concerns that they have is that CPS, all of these acronyms for the social workers, they're really contributing to the problem because they're taking kids away from families that really have no issue. High conflict divorce is not a qualifying issue to remove a kid from one household and or from both.
Right.
And so they're literally contributing to these trafficking issues. And some people have gone as far, and I'm not sure I'm just a messenger girl in this next statement. So don't come at me, people. Some people have literally said that they are aiding and abetting the trafficking in what they're doing, and that they're literally part of the trafficking scheme themselves because of what they do and how they're doing it. And I don't disagree entirely because I personally have a friend, an internet friend, but she had one of her kids medically kidnapped because they weren't going to do the treatment that Children's Medical Hospital wanted them to do. And I know I talked about this a couple months ago on the show. And so knowing that medical kidnapping is happening, knowing that kidnapping of these children for identity, situations is happening, in divorce situations is happening, like, we have a real problem.
Right. I'm pulling up California Bill 957, and it passed. So the bill passed March of 23. Yeah, the bill passed March of 23. I'm gonna play a clip. Well, I'm gonna do an auto clip, play of a clip of them talking about Bill 57, 957.
Okay. All right.
And so I think that, let me see if I can, let me connect. 1 second, Bluetooth on. This is all your fault, so I blame you for this.
Bluetooth connected.
Okay, so the Bluetooth is connected. Let me find it real quick. A clip of Bill 957. Okay, ready? Here you go.
It's absolutely crazy. This headline sums it up. This is around a bill 957 that they just passed in their state that will take away children from their parents if they do not choose to affirm their child's chosen identity. Listen to what this state representative, who's been there for over 12 years, had to say about California and what's going on. Listen to this.
In the past, when we've had these discussions and I've seen parental rights atrophied, I've encouraged people to keep fighting. I've changed my mind on that. If you love your children, you need to flee California. You need to flee.
Flee. Take your children and run. That's the warning from a senator who's lived in the state his entire life. Are you saying, God, I don't live in California? Guys, it's coming from a national level. Just yesterday, the White House says the children belong to them. They're there.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at
So-
all. Ever since 2020, people, and before really, ever since California got rid of religious exceptions to or exemptions from medical choice in schools, people have been having a mass exodus from California. And then another mass exodus started happening with 2020. So this doesn't surprise me. And a lot of people are starting to say California is really becoming their own little thing. I don't know if I have better words for it, but really their own little thing over there. And I'm not one to throw the baby out with the bathwater and say it's a lost cause. I'm also going to say that California has a lot of very hard work to do if they want to reclaim their state. A lot of really hard work.
Not just California. See,
Right.
California is just so bold with it, and
Yes.
I'm, for example, Milwaukee mayor, a couple of years ago, him and another alderman. Hold on 1 second, because Sarah's having internet problems, so she's going to call in.
Bluetooth disconnected.
The mayor of Milwaukee and another auto person had a bill passed in the city of Milwaukee where parents couldn't even get counseling for their children that was confused. They're not allowed to get any counseling in the city of Milwaukee. Now, what do that tells you? It's everywhere. We just ain't paying attention to it. It's everywhere, and we're just it's not hurting anyone,
Right.
but it is.
It is. And if anyone takes even 5 minutes, and I'm going to say that with very bold certainty, if you even take 5 minutes to listen to anyone who has done the transition stuff that they're pushing on all of these kids, you're going to see that this is not the unicorn rainbows and cotton candy that they're touting it to be. It's literally life destroying, health destroying things that's happening. There's well, we talked about a few weeks ago that What Is a Woman documentary that Matt Walsh did. And I know not a lot of people like him. He can be very dry and a little sarcastic, but I feel like he actually did a pretty solid job at being honest in his questions, to the point like you can tell that honest communication is not their forte.
I mean, you have to see how media does it. They showed you in the movie Enemy of State. Okay, in the movie Enemy of State, the first thing they do with somebody that has truth is start to discredit you.
Mm-hmm.
They try to tell people you are crazy.
Yep.
They try to tell you, let me see something. They try to tell you, you ain't got it all.
Hi, this is Sarah Boyce. I'm not available.
Oh, wow. She can't even do voicemail, she said. A voice call.
Hi, this is Sarah Boyce.
It's going straight to our voicemail. The internet is really, really
That's
probably messed up.
That's a bummer.
I know, because the mother-to-be, too. So when we look at it, right, they automatically start to discredit you to make people hate you, make people don't listen to you, and make you out to be the villain, because you're exposing the things that they're doing. And the sad part about it is, we all know this. We all know this about media, but yet it's still working.
Exactly.
Yet it's still. And so.
And it's because we've been conditioned for literally generations to, wake up in the morning as I'm getting ready, turn on the news, or as I'm getting ready for bed, turn on the news. Like, that's the thing we're supposed to be doing. And actually, that's a topic. Yeah, restarting your phone might help. But what were we?
Yeah.
I forgot what we were saying.
So, no, with for example, they got everybody hating on what's this guy name? What's his name? Kanye West.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They got people hating on Kanye West. Oh, wow. The whole Jackson County phone line is messed up. They say you can't even call 911. 911 in Jackson County is not available. So when you look at Kanye West, right? Kanye West, they said, it's crazy. This man has $1 billion. So he owed a couple of million. Then they said, well, he's not a billionaire, but he's crazy. He's on meds, because if he starts to talk, is not going to, they're not going to, how did they say it? If he starts to talk, then we're going to discredit him so people will think he's crazy, right? The same
Yeah.
thing with the movie. With the movie, they saying the person who documentary it is, he was part of the sex trafficking. So they say he's not a hero. He was part of it. So when you hear all of these negative narratives on the people that's trying to do the right thing, you know, it's just funny because when people go around and say, you know, Dr. King is crazy, everybody say, I know, he already told us that. Tell us something else, you know, because, oh, wow. So Sarah's having a really, really bad problem in Jackson.
Yeah.
You
I
in-
actually just
wait a
looked at
minute,
my
you're in
phone
Jackson
and
County too, right?
yeah, I actually just looked at my phone and I have no service either, which I have Verizon and I usually don't get the best service here, but yeah, I literally have an X. There's nothing. So, yeah, who knows what's going on. I do know a few weeks ago we had some stuff down here in town because they're bringing high-speed fiber lines into town and they had to disconnect it overnight one night, but I think this is something different, unless they're working somewhere else
Yeah,
now. But oh, are
freak
you
out.
still there?
You see me?
Yes. Now I think we're okay. I had to close Facebook again. I had it open, trying to check. So yeah, we'll see. My internet seems to be okay, but I'm up north of Sarah, so it might be a town thing too. I don't know.
But so when you look at it, right? How uh um when we look at how big this thing really is, because this thing is huge. This thing is where millions of dollars, billions of dollars are being made. Come on, you want to come by me? Come on. Come on over here.
Hey.
Come on over. There you go. Come around. There. Ah. Daughter, daddy time. So she's saying she's getting all hers. So, but when you look at it, right, and you look at the billions of dollars and the parents who lose their children and never see them again, or I was watching one where they was talking about an 11-year-old girl that was taken from her country and brought to America to groom her. And then they was making her have sex 20 to 35 times a day.
Oh my gosh.
A day
Wow.
at the age of 11.
I mean, even the most addicted adults don't even do that. It's just insane.
And to do it to a child, you're already drugging them up, making them numb. You know, I mean, it's sad. It's really, really sad to see what's really going on and
Yeah.
nobody's screaming about it because everybody's afraid that something gonna happen to them if they open their mouth and start sharing.
Yeah.
And
And actually, that's something that I'm going to sort of touch on my call later. I started making a list of all the different jobs that the signers of the Declaration had, basically in an effort to say these dudes did did a minimum of one of these things, if not 3 or 4 of these things, plus often had their own farms because that was the thing back then. And if they could do all of this and still be involved, still know what's going on, and still found an entirely new country, we can do better, you guys. Most people only have 1 or 2 jobs. Most, not everyone's. There are some people who, need to work 2 to 3 jobs and, are single parents, all the things. Like, I get, we have so many things that we can use as excuses, and yet it's really our duty and obligation to our kids. If you won't do it for yourself, think of your kids.
Well,
Get involved.
let's take it deeper. Not just your kids, your neighbor's kids. Your worst enemy child. I can't even imagine your worst enemy child being taken and forced to have sex 20 to 35 times a day.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when we're talking, we just gotta have only a heartless person that has already lost their soul can do something like this. It's terrible to see grown women being forced to do stuff like this, but the children,
Right.
but the children to go through and have to address laying there and allowing a grown person, to penetrate them, no.
Yep. Exactly.
And they probably beating on them as well.
Of course. And that's when I've gone down so many rabbit holes, but when the and I don't remember the first word, it's like Open Underground Railroad or something, but it's this group that's freeing the child trafficking or the victims of child trafficking, and kind of the people who put on this movie, when they first started sharing content of how they were finding these kids and the conditions they were in. They had panda eyes. If you don't know what panda eyes are, look it up. They were so severely abused. And it's really no wonder this is such a taboo topic, because we know anyone who hurts a kid in jail is like, I've heard these stories since I was a kid. If you hurt a kid and you're in jail or prison, like, you're considered still the scum of the scum. Like, out of all of the criminals who are sitting in jail, the person who hurts or kills a kid, they're still the worst scum out of all of them. And that's how they're viewed. And it's really, in society today, because I don't agree with this, I can tell that people have a hard time pointing fingers and really condemning others for their bad choices. And I think it shows our weakness. I'm not saying we have to be super authoritarian, but there has to be some limits, some boundaries on what is acceptable and what's not. And really showing light on, here is the line of what's acceptable and what's not. This is crossing the line. This is not okay. And
Yes.
that line is becoming so blurred and so grayed that they're trying to make it shades on a spectrum, and it's not. There's a line. It has been crossed. And we just need to man and woman up and be willing to acknowledge that a line has been crossed and we need to address it.
Right. And the thing about it is, when we look at it, how can we not get involved? How can we not say something? How can we not figure out a safe place for these kids, because once the battle is not even just getting them away from them, the battle is getting their mind to be reprogrammed, to deal with all the trauma.
Helping heal them after all of
Yes.
that. Yeah. Yep.
So that's going to be, that's when the work really starts.
Exactly.
Once you free someone, it's like a 24/7. You got to be careful how you handle them. You got to be careful on how you speak to them. You have, I mean, you have to totally redefine what love is to them, because I mean, they done been manipulated so bad, indoctrinated so bad, abused so bad, mentally, physically, and emotionally.
I want people to think about it like this. Soldiers come back from war with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. If you've been abused, there is this additional type of PTSD called CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And that's what comes with abuse, when there's manipulation of the mind and of the soul and the spirit, where you literally question or you don't even know what truth is supposed to be, what love is supposed to be. And we have to realize soldiers go to war as adults. They've already been, gone through living life. Now, I would say no one has lived a perfect childhood and life where they've been brought up. You can be close, you can have been brought up in a good Christian home or whatever, where you know right from wrong and you know what love is. But at least soldiers have had a fighting chance at a decent life before they, went to war. You're literally asking kids, or not asking, but kids are literally being put in such a traumatizing situation where they have complex PTSD and they never even had a fighting chance to understand what these things were to start with, because it happened so early. And that's part of the worst part, is you're not only undoing this bit of their life, you're pretty much undoing most of their life. And that's a lot more work, because they didn't have anything really to frame enough of to start and have that solid cognitive foundation that adults do.
Right. And so we definitely, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine a child coming out of that, you know. I really believe we need a home for them. I really believe that we need to get them the best medical care, mentally, spiritually. I mean, the best of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't, can you imagine if they try to?
If I remember right, and I'm gonna say this so we don't get flagged on any platforms, but the rate of them unaliving themselves, from what I've heard, statistically is very high.
Right.
And it's understandable. I mean, even again, going back to adults, we know access, whether you're in the VA or not, access to true healing medicine is very hard to come by. Most of it comes with a lot of just medicating the problems away, which is really just band-aiding it, and not actually addressing the situation. And so even if these kids get, the medical attention that they need, so often it looks like the stuff we've already been seeing, people on the spectrum, neurodivergent people just being drugged to medicate away their issues, rather than healing their body, healing their heart and their soul in ways that actually create the change and the transition from this toxic situation, helping them understand it, helping them process the fact that it's done, it's over with. Yes, it's a part of you. It shouldn't have had to be a part of you, but it is. How can you move forward now?
Right.
And it's really part of, helping people like with grieving. That kind of counseling really helps with PTSD too, because you need to grieve the crap that you've been through and be angry, be sad, have that disconnect and go through those emotions and kind of grieve that former part of yourself, so you can kind of be reborn in this new version that can now turn around and help people based on your experience.
Right. And so I encourage everybody to really start to look into that, get involved some kind of way,
Yeah.
be vigilant for our children, our grandchildren, our neighbors' children. You know, we have to get back. I like this test that they do. I don't know if you've seen it on TikTok or on TikTok, where they put a little child next to a grown person at a park bench or something, and they have somebody come up to that child to try to take the child.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that every adult they put that child by, that person stood up and said, "No, do you know this person?" And they say no. They was like, get away. And one guy was getting ready to pull out his gun. He was like, get away. And so that's what we need to see. We need to see people are being protective over these children now and saying, you know what?
We need to have community back.
Yes.
Things like these stupid devices have separated us so much from our freaking neighbors. I'm going to be honest, I don't even know my neighbors' names, the people who just moved in last year. I don't know their names. I should. Maybe later today or tomorrow. I'm going to go over and figure out their names. We need to get back into community. We need to be, when they say it takes a village, it's not only discipline. It's keeping an eye out for each other.
Right.
Because you can't always be watching your back or your kids' back. Remember, like, where I live, where I grew up, we didn't really have this. But Dr. King, you probably remember when you were growing up, like curfew was, or when you were supposed to be home is when the streetlights came on, kind of thing, right?
Oh, well, you don't know nothing about that. Yeah, but yes.
But that's the stereotype that like kids born before or up through the 80s or so understood that, you got to just be out in the community having fun, racing a little cane, because, kids do. But if anyone was in trouble, you knew that there was going to be someone in the community that you could go to for help.
Well, in our community, you had to be home before the street light. You had to be on the porch before the street light came on. But every family was your family.
Exactly.
And when we grew up, we would be like, this is my cousin. Our neighbors was our cousins. And even though we was not blood related, we was community related. And this is my cousin. You didn't know who was cousin for real and not, because that's how close families was. Mm-hmm. And your mom can work second shift and nobody's coming into the house because your other mom on both sides was watching the house. Yeah. Your dad, the dads of the neighborhood. So we had that protection, and exactly. And we grew up like that. We might fight a family on the block, but we back friends right after that, and we always looked out. You couldn't come on our block. A stranger on our block? Oh no, you couldn't do that. And so that's what we got to get back to. We need to know exactly who all on the block and who live there and who don't. Yep. And then you're not going to come on our block to try to fight nobody. You better catch them off the block. You're not going to do it on the block. Yep. And so that's what kept the children safe too.
Yeah. And I think of the whole Crime Stoppers thing. I really don't buy it anymore. I used to think, oh, that's a really good idea to help support the little neighborhoods. I don't see these supposed Crime Stoppers out doing crap. If anything, I see them being, the Karens of the community, where they're, oh, so-and-so down the street, their grass is longer than 3 inches long. And it's, that kind of stuff. Homeowner association policing kind of stuff. I don't see them, and maybe I'm wrong. I have a community that's so small. We are a little more old school, but if we have Crime Stoppers, I don't know. But I feel like that's a scapegoat to be like, oh, we have these Crime Stopper people over here, so I don't have to pay attention because we have people for that. It's right. Like, no, we need to be the people for that. Take back responsibility and stop sloughing it off on someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that I know Sarah gets her power back on, I think she said around 11:30.
Okay.
And I think what we can do is come on tonight if you're free after I know you're doing your show. But
I do have a call from 6 to 7 tonight, so we'll see. We'll talk with Sarah and see what that looks like.
Yeah, because we can do like 7.
Okay.
And
Yeah, we
can
chat
do a part 2. This one would be occupied at the time, so I don't have to sit uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, she ain't letting her daddy do nothing.
Yep.
She's not letting her daddy do a thing.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah, we'll talk with Sarah and co-coordinate some for this evening. I do know I want to try to get up to the village board meeting this evening just to check something out, because I know our Lions Club needs to get our permits approved for our movie nights and stuff. So I kind of want to go up and see what that process looks like. So we'll chat, and I'll talk to Bill, and we'll figure it out.
Okay, we'll figure it out. And
Oh, what was that?
host tonight because I have daddy duty for now.
Yeah, sounds good.
Get no thoughts in minds, and then we'll go do daddy duty. Say hello, everybody. Wave. Go ahead.
What was that?
I said, go ahead. Final thoughts.
Oh, final thoughts. If you have not gone to see the movie that everyone is talking about, but media does not want to acknowledge or wants to call it conspiracy theory, go see it. If nothing else, to bring your awareness to what it's about and what they're saying. I've heard that during the credits too, they share some really good statistics, and to stay to the very end. Go see the movie. You know, it's worth knowing what's being talked about. And that's, I think, the biggest thing for me is one of those like know thine enemy kind of thing. We can't always just be preaching to the choir. We need to get ourselves out there and listen to understand, even if we don't agree. Listen to understand and be able to make ourselves aware of what's going on in the world, in our communities, and then take action. Find some way to get involved, even if all you can do is donate to these organizations that are helping free children. That's still something. So find something to do. Don't just be a keyboard warrior, because that's not going to help them. They need action. So that's my thoughts. Have a great day, and hopefully we'll see you guys tonight.
Yes. And so for me, I just want to say, look at the young ones. You do it. Look at the young ones, and just imagine your child going through that. If no other reason, get up and do something. Look at your children or your grandchildren and says, what if they're going through that? And I guarantee you that will make you want to do something. And as Sarah said, watch the movie. Go watch the movie. I mean, Amber, Lord, I keep calling her. As Amber said, go watch the movie, for nothing else but to get informed. For nothing else but to get informed, get the information.
Yeah. And you guys, I have seen what abuse looks like on a very small scale. And so I will tell you, it makes me uncomfortable thinking of going to see this film. And yet, I'm still going to find a way to get there and watch it, because I feel it's that important. If we stay in our little boxes and let fear control our actions, nothing will get done. People did things even afraid. We have, you know, we have got to lean on for that faith that we will get through this. So do it afraid. Do it afraid.
Yes. And so one of the things that we're going to do on the show is show Milwaukee County, Jackson County, the records of what it looks like. So people will say, well, we're here. It's not in our neighborhood. It's in your neighborhood.
It is.
It's in your community. And so we want to alert people so they'll know, so we can protect our children even better.
Yeah.
So with that being said, people, we love you guys, and we'll talk to y'all soon. God bless, and have a beautiful day in America.
Kingdom citizen,